Hey everybody, my name's Mike, and does your garage fridge sound like this? Yeah. Well, ours does that every now and then, and I've affectionately nicknamed it Zool from Ghostbusters. So I'm going to teach you how to replace the motor that's back there so that it doesn't do that anymore. So watch, and I'll show you how easy it is. Well, it's not really easy the first time, but I'm going to show you. Just hang in there. Here's the tools you're going to need. A 1/4 inch socket, a extension, a ratchet, needle nose pliers, and a flashlight. I got this motor from Amazon, and I'll include the link in the description below, and I'll show you how to put it all together. First thing you want to do is empty the freezer. Next, you're going to want to take this shelf out by pushing it in. Oh, there you go again, push. Letting it drop down, and then taking it out. Just like that. Next, you're going to want to remove these two screws, or bolts in there. And the same on the other side. Now this bottom plate you just lift up and out. Give a little turn like this and set it aside. Little note, you might notice ice built up on the bottom, and that's normal because your fan's not working properly. So don't worry about that. If you want, you can beat it out and take it out and toss it out the door or in the sink. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the ice tray if your freezer has one of these automatic ice makers in it. First, unplug the freezer. Here's where your flashlight comes in handy. I'm just going to leave my flashlight in here to help me see up here. What we're going to do is we're going to go underneath here and we're going to undo that bolt and these two up top here, left and right. Now you're going to want to have your other hand on it while you're trying to remove that second screw so this doesn't just fall down. Once you do get it down, you're going to notice back here this connection. You're just going to lift it up. There's a little tab right here and give it a wiggle and a pull. And it should come right out. Set this off to the side. Next, you have these 3 bolts in the back that you have to undo. Here, here, and here. Now this plastic piece, once you get it out, comes out just like this, and there's a little tab there. See that? Little tab goes in there and it just comes out like this. You'll notice in the back here where all the wires are going, there's a ground wire that's attached. Now it's just clipped on. All you have to do is wiggle it loose and it comes loose. Now all your screws, you're going to want to put them in a cup or something. I just put mine on top of my fridge because I've done this 100 times already. So that's why I wanted to include that in the video. So just make sure you keep all your bolts in a cup somewhere where you can get back to them easily. Next we have the light, and there is a hole right up in here, and there is one more bolt that we have to undo. Now this is going to want to fall when you undo the bolt, so just hold on to it and then just let it rest down there. You'll see in the back there where it's attached, it's not really attached, it's just resting on a rubber grommet. If you lift it up, it'll start to pull this panel forward. Now, if it's frozen completely down here, you're going to have to wait till the ice melts or chip it away, or else you're going to break this bottom half where all the air is supposed to go into the fridge part. So be very careful when you do this next part. Now you'll see it start coming forward. And these styrofoam blocks are kind of stuck in there. You're not going to be able to get them pulled straight out. So you're going to have to lift it up and to the right and kind of pull it back. Now, I've done this before, and these two plastic tabs at the top popped off. If that happens to you, don't worry about it. It's not going to ruin the function of your freezer. Again, this is a garage fridge, so I'm not really all that concerned about it. Once you do, this panel here should come straight back and out. Just set it aside. Now we have the motor mount. We're going to undo these 4 bolts here, 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 and here. Start anywhere you like. Now, once it's loose, you're going to want to pull it out like this. And you're going to notice on the back side where the wires are at and connected. Take note where the red and the white and the green ground wire go. You're going to undo these 2 bolts here and here to get the motor off after you've used your needle nose pliers to take these cables off. Now again, remember where they go and you'll be all right. Now you'll notice on the back, once you get these 2 bolts out, these are just going to slide right towards you. You may have to wiggle them out because it's got rubber grommets. Then just take the motor mount out. Now, with a lot of things that you get on Amazon, you're going to notice that there's problems. A couple of problems I noticed right off the bat is, first, I had to take this motor apart. Now, there's a couple of screws on the back side of this motor that is the same size, 1/4 inch. But go ahead and undo them, and you're going to want to save these arms here. Because, number one, these arms on the new motor are not the same size as the original motor. Also, number two, the fan itself, this one is smaller than this one. So we're going to have to modify this fan just slightly, trimming off the ends of the blades. Don't worry, we don't have to send it back. We will make it work. Now you notice on this motor, there are a set of screws on each side, not bolts. So this is a Phillips head screw here and a Phillips head screw here. You're going to want to take note of which arm goes where. So when you take it off of the original one, you're going to match it up to the new one. So it's going to fit right there. See the difference in the size? That's what we're going to fix right now. So when you unscrew this screw, take note that on the back side of the new motor, there's a little nut on the back. Just hold on to it so you don't lose it somewhere, or else you're going to have to go to the hardware store and get a new nut. Okay, so now we can see that we've got the old arms off of the old motor and put it onto the new motor. Next is on to trimming the fan blades. Now I just trimmed a little bit off of this fin here. Now you don't have to trim that much off because this fan blade is not that far off from the dimension it needs to be. However, you want to make sure that you trim off the equal amount on each fin so that you don't have a wobbly fan blade in there, or else it's going to make worse noise than it was before. So make sure that you keep an eye on just how far you're going with how you're trimming each one of the edges. Okay, so now that we've got our fan blade trimmed and our arms back on the motor, it's time to put the cables back on. Now you'll see here, this little guy, hopefully you didn't lose it when you took the motor apart, is our ground wire. And the top here is going to be white, and the bottom one is going to be red. Now they're going to go on the inside, just like this, but it's easier to put them on before you put the motor back into its housing there. Okay, so now that you've attached your wires and you've placed it back onto the mount, the first thing to do is to check to see if you have enough clearance from your blades. Now, if this doesn't spin freely, then you've got to take this back apart. See how mine is rubbing up against this plastic here? I've got to trim each one of these blades again. So 1 minute, and we'll be right back. Now you'll notice that this is going to be spinning freely now. Once it's spinning freely, then you can go ahead and put your screws back in. Now we have our bolts back in, it's time to go ahead and place the plastic mount back where it belongs, up here. So I'm going to need both hands for this, so I'm going to set the camera down. Make sure this fan spins freely every time, and you'll be alright. Okay, so now once this is back up,
you can go ahead and start putting everything back together. But before you do that, I know everybody likes to get really excited that they're at this point in the project and you're almost done. But first you want to make sure that you test it. Yay, success. Now, once we've done that, now we can put everything back together. Now, one thing you want to be sure of when you're putting it back together is after you've taken this part down, it tends to pull this silver tape insulated wire along with it. Now, when you're putting it back up, you might want to have to reach behind there and make sure that this guy stays up above the motor, because once it goes over the motor there, it will stop that motor from spinning. Now here's a little tip when you're putting it back together. These longer screws that you took out for the ice maker on the top here, go ahead and put those back in just by hand at first, and it will make hanging that unit so much easier. Don't put them in all the way, just leave them out just like hanging a picture. Next, we're going to take our ice maker and we're going to connect it back up to the cable. The same way it came undone. Forgive me here, I'm just using one hand to put this in. I can't barely see. And there we have it. Okay, so now you'll see up here with these two, I was telling you earlier, watch as this goes on. You see how that kind of hooks up there? And go up and over. Sorry for the video angle here. Oh, one thing you want to note, this tube has to go in that notch. It can go up and over and rest right there. And there you have it. Next, you're going to put your bolt right back in there and tighten everything back down. Go ahead and plug her back in. And there you have it. As long as your motor is going, you're going to have everything working just fine.